began in a Talmud Torah in Israel. Rabbi Besat was giving a class to his students when the school supervisor interrupted his lesson and tells him that an Arab is asking to see him immediately. Curious, the rabbi goes to the school's gate and recognizes Mahmoud, the technician. "Rabbi, I must talk to you about an pressing matter, and you're the only one who can help me." Getting more curious about this situation, the rabbi invites Mahmoud into his office. "Rabbi, you know that I respect Jews and their books. I know that they have a certain holiness. That's why I can't throw them in the garbage." The rabbi does not understand a thing about his story. "But which books are you talking about? And why would you want to throw them in the garbage?" Muhammad explained, "I was given the task to do some renovations in an apartment in Tel Aviv, in which an immense library of new books can be found. The owner, an Ashkenazi Jew, asked me to throw every single one of these books, but I couldn't obey him. I was scared that God would get me angry for throwing out these holy books. I am here to seek your advice, because you also showed tremendous respect towards me when I come to work at your school. So here it is. I brought you 2 books at random, and you should know that there are over 500 other books like this in the apartment." Rabbi Besat goes through the books quickly and discovers, with great astonishment, incredible teachings, conveying a high level of learning and written in a very professional manner. There is even a letter of recommendation written by one of the greatest rabbis of the time. His eyes stop at the author's introduction, which he reads out loud. "I thank my grandson, Yonatan Wilberg, who enlightened my life. His pertinent questions and his great answers prove his outstanding wisdom. May Hashem pour him with goodness and may he become a great leader of Israel. Rav Yekutiel Wilberg." When he hears this name, Mahmoud tells the rabbi, "Wilberg? But it's the name of the apartment's owner in Tel Aviv. I have his number if you want." Rabbi Besat cannot believe it. "Mahmoud, I think you've discovered a very precious book. I don't know what your merit is, but you were sent to prevent the loss of these priceless works." Then the rabbi calls immediately the owner. "Hello, are you Rabbi Yonatan Wilberg?" The man answers, "Rabbi Yonatan Wilberg? Is this a joke?" Somewhat embarrassed, the rabbi answers, "No, I'm the director of a Talmud Torah. I have 2 books here conveying several brilliant and deep Torah teachings, whose author is Rav Yekusiel Wilberg, and your name is written in them." The rabbi then starts reading the introduction, and as he's reading, he feels the man he's speaking to is becoming tenser. The man answers him with a low voice, "Yes, I am Yonatan Wilberg, and these books are addressed to me. But how did you get a hand of them?" "Thanks to Mahmoud, the technician," answers the rabbi. "He told me that you had asked him to throw out all of your library, but you probably had no idea what precious treasure was given to you by your grandfather." And then again, Yonasan is silent. The rabbi feels that he's embarrassed and that this conversation bothers him. He then tries to reassure him. "Mr. Wilberg, feel comfortable. I would just like to know if you would allow us to take these remarkable books. It would be such a shame to throw them away." Yonasan tells him that he'd like to meet him first. And then 1 hour later, a tall Jew, around 50 years old, his head uncovered and his face shaved, enters the office of Rabbi Besat, in which Mahmoud already stands. He starts shyly, "Rabbi, I feel so embarrassed. I'm a wealthy businessman, the head of a big enterprise, and I have everything I need, but I hadn't yet felt such a malice. My life was calm and successful till you called." The rabbi was astonished, and Yonasan started to tell his story. "My grandfather, Rabbi Yekusiel Wilberg, was a learned man, and he was admired by all Jews. He was a great man of his generation. My father passed away shortly after my birth. My mother couldn't raise me for psychological reasons. My grandmother then adopted me, surrounding me with love and warmth until the age of 10. I became permeated by his Torah teachings. Every time I would ask a good question, he would kiss me and reward me with candies. One day, he murmured in my ears, 'My dear Yonasan, you will be a Torah giant. You understand quickly and you tackle the text in a right manner, and you have an ability of expression and the concepts that will make you one of the greatest leaders of the people of Israel.' My grandfather passed away 45 years ago, and a few months later, my grandmother followed him. At age 10, I was all alone. I didn't have any family, no ally besides my social security, which sent me to live with a non-religious family. My kippah was put aside, my payas were cut, and I quickly forgot my grandfather's Torah. His apartment in Tel Aviv was abandoned for decades. but I recently decided to do some renovations to make room for my son, who just got married. I then asked Mahmoud to empty out the apartment, knowing too well that it contained all of these books. But my heart was completely closed to their importance. A Jew moving away from Torah becomes indifferent and insensitive, so much so that I didn't realize the seriousness that throwing all these books involved. When you read me those lines that he had written to me, it was like a bomb. I was so moved that I woke up from my lethargy. I was so ashamed of myself. Turning towards Mahmoud, Yonasan told him, "Thank you so much. Thanks to you, my grandfather's books will be distributed in Torah learning centers." And then Mahmoud answers, "Mr. Wilberg, your grandfather was a great man. Know that I too am a grandson of a great sheikh who was actually very much appreciated by the Jews. His name was Abdullah Abu Dashin, and he was a great figure of Islam in Hebron." "Did you say Abdullah Abu Dassin?" asked Yonasan, astonished. "This is not possible." Mahmoud looks at him without knowing what he was talking about. And Yonasan continues, "You won't believe it, but the name Abdullah Abu Dassin was whispered to my ears numerous times when I was a child. My grandfather lived in Hebron up until the terrible massacre that perpetrated towards the Jews on the Shabbos of 1929, and he recounted several times to me the story of his drama. When I had asked him how he had survived, he answered, 'I was saved by an Arab whose name was Abdullah Abu Dassin. When everything started, he hid me in his house, in his backyard, in a wooden hut, and covered me with all these blankets. I stayed hidden there for an entire day before he took me out, leaving time for the situation to calm down.'" Almost in tears, Yonasan adds, "My grandfather was also so grateful towards this sheikh, even though he had never heard from him afterwards. And here I am today. I have the merit to meet his grandson. I can't believe it." Very moved, Yonatan starts crying, holding tight his grandfather's two books. In life, every person we meet was decided by divine providence with great precision. The Sheikh Abdullah Abu Dassin, by saving Rav Wilberg's life, also indirectly saved his future books, and this thanks to his own grandson. Shabbat Shalom.